Hello dear students, we were discussing module 4, that is engineering economics. Okay, so we have discussed already the basic definition of the economics and engineering economics. What is the difference? Also we have studied about principles of engineering economics. Okay, next we have microeconomics and macroeconomics, right? So microeconomics, it is the study of markets and segments of the economy. It looks at issues such as consumer behavior, individual labor markets, and the theory of firms, right? So microeconomics is concerned with basically supply and demand in individual markets, right? Local markets or individual markets, what we say. Then individual consumer behavior, for example we have consumer choice theory. Then individual labor markets, right? For example we have demand for labor, then wage determination, etc. Then we have macroeconomics. Macroeconomics is nothing but it is a study of the economy, that is considering whole, okay, whole nation. For example it looks at aggregate variables such as aggregate demand, national output, and inflation. Okay, so microeconomics is basically concerned with monetary or fiscal policy. Okay, so what is monetary or fiscal policy? We have monetary policy refers to central bank activities that are directed towards influence the quality of money and credit in an economy, right? So by contrast we have fiscal policy refers to the government's decision about that is taxation and spending of the money. Okay, so these two sets of policies affect the economy via different mechanisms. Okay, different mechanism, these two policies, okay, so affect the economy as a whole. Then we have reasons for inflation and unemployment. So what do you mean by inflation? Inflation is a situation of rising prices in the economy, right? So a more exact definition we have, inflation is a sustained increase in the general price level in an economy, right? So presently what we are feeling, right? So due to lockdown all the prices are increasing. So inflation basically means an increase in the cost of living as the price of goods and services rising, right? Nowadays we are under lockdown condition, so there are increase in the price level. So in Kannada what we say, inflation is nothing but hanadubbara, right? Hanadubbara what we call in Kannada, correct? So due to the farmers are not reaching the markets, the vegetables or crops what they are growing, right, they're not reaching the markets properly, so we are feeling inflation. That is the inflation meaning. So reasons for inflation and unemployment. Then we have economic growth, then international trade and globalization. Then we have reasons for differences in living standards and economic growth between the countries. Okay, so the import export, international trade and globalization we have. Then difference in living standard, right? So there are different levels of people we are seeing in the social society, correct? So that is also that. Then we have government borrowing. What do you mean by government borrowing? The money that the government borrows to spend on public services. Okay, the funds we raise that directly go to the government, right, to be invested in the public services and to reduce government borrowing. So those we call it as government borrowing. Basically government borrowing is nothing but money that the government borrows to spend on public services, right? If you see the major difference here between micro and macroeconomics, microeconomics is the study of economics at an individual or group or company level or organization level. Macroeconomics is the study of a national economy as a whole. Okay, it focuses on issues that affect individuals and companies. Okay, so this could mean studying the supply and demand for a specific product, the product that an individual or a business is capable of, or the effects of regulation on a business. Okay, So macroeconomics is the study of national economy as a whole. Macroeconomics focuses on issues that affect the economy as a whole. Some of the most common focuses of macroeconomics includes unemployment rates, the gross domestic product of an economy, and the effects import, exports, etc. Right. So then we have the problem solving and decision making in a workplace. Then types of problems encountered at the workplace. The common type of problems abound in every workplace due to various issues such as the need to collaborate and work with various types of people, right? Meet targets and deadline. There will be targets, deadlines will be there in a workplace. Work within the tight budget, right? So there are always the budget will be given, okay, according to that we have to work, right? So gain the endorsement and praise of supervisor, right? Then work within the norms and culture of the organization. There will be some policies, some norms, right? Culture we have to follow in an organization, etc. Then types of problems encountered at the workplace, right? So there are specific problems which are common to every workplace because workplaces are human institutions and human beings are the same everywhere, right? So there are some problems with the human beings, correct? So communication problems will be there, then attitude problem, then interpersonal challenges between supervisor and subordinates are among your subordinates. Then ethical problems may be there, poor performance, then discrimination and harassment. So these are the usually we have some problem. These are the usual problems in a workplace. So how to solve the problems, right? How to solve the different problems we have. So approach to problem solving. To effectively solve problems at the workplace, it is important to keep the following in mind. Problems are not manageable when they are conceived in large global terms, right? Like that, like everything is going wrong, we should not think like this, right? He will never change, right? There is no hope, etc. You need to establish and obtain relevant facts, right? We should not give such or think like this. Problems should not be allowed to linger, right? Addressing issues as they occur is a much strategy than waiting for thinking to get better and work themselves out. So as the problem starts, you should address that, okay? Should not wait for the things get better, right? Work themselves out. There are countless approaches that have been developed for problem solving. Some very simple and other are complicated. Some of them are trial and error method, right? One solution after another is tried until the problem is solved or appears to be improving, right? This is trial and error method. Then experimentation method we have, right? A theory is tested to enhance knowledge, understanding or prediction. So there are some of the example. So different approaches are available, okay? So characteristics of an effective problem solver, right? What are the characters that required for an effective problem solver, right? Effective problem solver have confidence in their ability to learn and their ability to solve problems, rely on their own judgment, right? Though they know there is wisdom in counsel, they respect their own decision making abilities. They are not fearful of being wrong or of making mistakes, right? They are not fast answerers, right? They are not fast answerers means they take time in taking decisions. They are flexible and are often capable of seeing more than one answer to a question or a problem. So they see different alternatives, they find different number of answers to a particular problem. Also, effective problem solver have a can-do attitude. Can-do attitude is very important. Consider every position as though it were their own, okay? They should not think by sitting at one position, okay? They have to see the different levels of workers, different levels of, okay, organization structures, right? By thinking, their thinking should be like that. Okay, considering every position as though it were their own. They stand there. Okay, they think about the different positions. Then avoid the experience trap, right? And then gain commitment from all parties involved. Seek win-win solutions, right? So commitment from all the parties is also very important. Then as a part of problem solving, the supervisor is not expected to solve all problems. Instead, he or she should know how to refer the problem to the proper people, right? Then delegate appropriately and keep work moving. That is very important. The work should keep moving, right? So as a supervisor, we should not expect all the problems he should solve, right? That is not possible, but they refer the problem to the proper people, then delegate appropriately. Then the work should keep moving. The work should not stop. Work should keep moving. Then we have avoid making a major issue out of each problem, right? Good planning can avert many crises. Put each issue into perspective so that alternatives can be evaluated, and an appropriate amount of time can be devoted to finding the solution, right? So you should not make major issues from the problems. Avoid inappropriate responses to failure, right? Acknowledge mistakes but do not dwell and organize over them, right? So it is very important to learn from the mistakes, right? That is the meaning here. So then remember to draw on easily available information. Okay, so easily available information, we have to see have some of the alternatives been tried before, right? If so, what was the outcome, you have to look at. Also consult with other colleagues in the organization or with outside experts. This is also very important. Okay, so be aware of promising too much, right? Don't make promises you can't keep to your subordinate or your boss, right? That is also very important. Then we have types of decisions. There are mainly 3 types of decisions that supervisor can face with. First one, we have routine, then adaptive type, then we have innovative type of decisions. Okay, so routine decisions are the decisions made when problems are relatively well defined and common. Okay, and when established rules, policies and procedures can be used to solve them, right? For example, we have shortage of application forms or client assessment forms. Those are routine types of problems. Then adaptive decisions are decisions made when problems and alternative solutions are somewhat unusual, okay, and only partially understood, right? For example, we have changing work time, then work pattern or methods of assignments, right? Then we have innovative decisions are the decisions made when problems are unusual and unclear. Okay, so in that condition we have to think creatively and we have to take the we have to give the creative solutions. Okay, so what are the factors that affect the decision making? Okay, so we have experience and knowledge of the decision maker, then creating thinking, then self concept, stress level, then interpersonal conflicts, then time available, money and energy. So those are also very important in taking any decisions. What is the time available, then what is the money or economy is there, then energy level. Okay, then routine versus non-routine decisions, risk associated with the decision. Okay, critical nature of the work, written guidelines. So there will be some guidelines we have to strictly follow while taking the decision that may be there. Organization's attitude towards decision making, amount and kind of information available, degree of acceptance of decision and support. Okay, so last we have managers personal ability. So what are the ingredients for good decision making? So follow a systematic process, right? I have to follow a systematic process, right? So we cannot directly take the decision. involve the team. Okay, so you should not go individually alone taking decision, right? So involve the team, delegate, then brainstorm sessions. You can organize it so that you can get a different ideas, different alternatives. Okay, be creative, be objective. Okay, so the decision making process goes like this: define a problem, correct? Then gather the information, right? So first define a problem properly, then related to that problem you gather information from different, okay, sources like stakeholders, individual teams that are affected by the problems its solution. Okay, so then facts and data, you can do the research, then results from experiments and studies you can collect, then interviews of experts and trusted sources you can collect the data, then observed events. Okay, by personal observation also you can gather information, then develop and weigh alternatives, right? So you cannot choose a single solution. Okay, so think in different ways, think develop and weigh alternatives different. Okay, so then you can take the decision, then select the best alternative. Okay, don't consider any alternative as a perfect solution. Okay, if they were probably wouldn't be a problem in the first place, right? Consider your intuition or inner feelings in deciding on a course of action, right? Return to a trusted outsider, right? In there something you missed, if there anything you have missed, right? Does he or she is a problem with your solution, right? So I have to think like that and then select a best alternative, then implement the decision. Then fifth step is implementing of the decision which you have taken, right? Until it is acted on, a decision is only a good intention. Okay, so implement it properly after taking a best solution, after taking a good decision. Okay, then monitor the progress. Then final is the have to monitor the progress, then if any changes you have to adopt it, you can adopt it later. Okay, so that is the end of the session. Thank you.